Isn't that the simple truth about a shift?
You know, every agent is posting, oh, inventory's up and all this and doom and gloom.
Yeah, unless the sky has fallen and everything has gone to hell in a handbasket, this won't be a problem.
And I'm going, hey, there were 7,200 homes sold last month in the Phoenix market.
Right,
Like,
right. So if you would take just a moment and tell us a little about yourself, you know, where you're from and what were you doing before real estate and how did you get in real estate? And then we'll pick it up from there.
Excellent. Yeah, so I'm out in Arizona where everything real estate seems to start here. So we started the current trend again, it looks like. But so yeah, I've been doing it 22 years. I was a FedEx guy before that for 13 years. And, you know, kind of saw the vision of what FedEx drivers did and how to kind of run what we term kind of our realtor route, if you will, over time, which was geographic farming. So started doing that in 2001 and haven't let our foot off the gas since then, which has led to a pretty consistent business and a very inconsistent industry typically.
You know, I'm one of your biggest fans, my friend. I love the way you think. I love the consistency and the persistency that you've demonstrated throughout your life. It's inspiring and it's also educational. So let's talk about a couple of things. One is, so last year your business had a remarkable year. I mean, you guys did well over 400 transactions, if I'm correct.
Yeah, we were close to the 500, 480-ish, and just under 5 million GCI. So yeah, good year. Obviously, sales prices helped that, and interest rates, and being in the Phoenix market, you know, there's no shortage of transactions going on. And we get hit with everything. You know, we get institutional guys, we get regular buyers, we get, you know, regular investors, we get second home, we get snowbirds, a lot of rooftops here and a lot of room to still grow. So everything continues to kind of spread out here. And then, of course, having California as a neighbor has its pros and cons, but they definitely have flocked over here over the last couple of years for sure. And a lot of businesses, quite honestly, too. We're becoming a little bit of a tech driven industry here now too. We've got Google, Facebook, Amazon's got some big places. So it's really growing and continuing to. And it's affordable for most people when you look at property tax and just in general, our cost of housing is still pretty affordable for a lot of people coming from different parts of the country.
We could talk about anything, but I'd love to narrow it down today to just two things. One is, I'd love for you to talk about your realtor route, the whole idea behind, you saw how FedEx operated. You brought that to real estate to literally build this monster company. Can you just talk to us about the mindset of the realtor route and then the things that you've done or you do to nurture that?
Yeah, you know, my DISC profile is a high I, so ID, and so that likability factor or that not wanting rejection is kind of. I didn't realize it early on until I did the profile, and I went, "Yep, that's me." I like people. I like connecting people. I like sharing, and after years at FedEx, when you first get on as a driver, the guys you see out in the trucks, you're kind of you're the new guy. So you're getting what they call swing routes, which are who's on vacation, who's sick. And it's pretty stressful. In 10:30, you got to have deliveries out by. You're trying to organize all these stops. And what I quickly realized is it's a tough place to be until you get your own route. Because once I got my own route, then you got to know everyone. You built relationships. You could add value. You knew who was going to sign. Did they want to deliver to the front, to the back? What time did they like pickups? What could I do to make their life, easier, which ultimately made my life easier and somewhat kind of autopilot. So when I got into real estate the first 2 years, I probably did a lot of the traditional stuff. And then we were going to move to a new neighborhood or the opportunity came up and kids were young. We were going to have a couple ourselves, and I just saw this community. I said, you know what? If I could just put my head down here for 10 years and just work this area, what would it look like? And from an efficiency standpoint, the Valley, the Phoenix market is pretty spread out. So it's not uncommon to take an hour to get to the other side of town. And that just wasn't very efficient. And with FedEx, what you realized is, packages didn't come down the belt. And, Gary, you took one and I took one and the next guy took one. It was sectioned in routes. And so your efficiency, your, if you will, relating it to real estate, my market knowledge, my knowledge of the businesses, the schools, the shops, what's coming to the area, what neighborhoods, what models. And, what I look at is, you used to knock at the door to go to a listing appointment, and it was nerve-wracking because you didn't really know the area as well. You didn't know the neighborhood. And then over time, pretty soon I knew every model, every upgrade, the builders. And then I just started expanding it from there in the community, because I felt like if I was only selling real estate, you're going to get some pushback right there. It's, oh no, it's a realtor coming at me, or a car guy, or whatever. Yeah, and so right. I started doing a newsletter in 2001. Started with 1,700 homes, and really did it based on what I could afford. So we set aside like $12,000, basically $1,000 a month, and said I can't quit. I have to do this for 12 months. And I don't know why I felt that way or what I knew. I just felt like it was going to take time. Plus, I was in a newer community, so there wasn't a lot of resale yet. And got a listing the very first month, and then went 7 months with none. But the newsletter was getting some traction. People were putting free ads in it. Back when that was a thing. Of course, now with all the online stuff, that value's not there anymore. But just over time, you start to meet people. And so then I started running my route, realizing that, I had to visit the businesses as well as the residential, because most of these businesses in a local geographic area, they're talking to your future customers and your customers. And if you can build rapport and right. add value to them. So everything we do is based on, can we add value to the relationship? And so, I started, hey, can I put something in the newsletter about your business? Can we do an interview? Back then it was the old flip cam was the latest technology then. And yeah. So you would take that out and do a quick video, and then they'd allow me to put newsletters in their businesses. And what you find quickly is then it gives you purpose, right? Because every month you've got to go back and refill those newsletters. And so, at first it's the typical rejection stuff, and what are you selling? What are you up to? And then when they realize you're there to really just add value, you got a coupon we can put in our move-in bucket for our clients. How can we started a local neighborhood network group, and it was an easy conversation, because like, hey, our goal is to keep dollars in our own community. Is that something you'd be interested in? And let's get together once a month and talk about events, how we can help each other. And it became kind of, we kind of became the hub of it, if you will, in the community of sharing. We'd interview the football coach before the season, the principal before the school year, do water drives. We did teddy bear drives because the city of Mesa, the police officers carry teddy bears in their trunks of their car, so that, if there's a distress situation, domestic, they have something to give the kids and just something neat. So it's interesting how once you start doing it, it starts to flow, because people start to know, that you're involved in these things. And the newsletter really became not so much a marketing piece, but more of an informational piece that turned into a marketing piece.
What a lot of people would say, that sounds a little airy-fairy. This idea, it doesn't sound direct. It sounds indirect, right? This idea of, I'm going to add value first, and then I'm going to receive on the back end. I'm going to bring value everywhere I can. Even in my newsletter, it's really about bringing value to the community. I'm going to run my events, and the whole goal of the events is to bring value to the businesses and the community. My goal is to bring money into the community, right, into the businesses, into the charities. That's a very indirect approach, right? Because like you said, right. Some people like to go make the call directly, and you discovered with your personality that you really wanted to run an attraction-based business, right? You're going to go out and give because there's nothing threatening about giving, right? People will take right. all the giving that you can give them, right? But right. the backside of that is when you do it strategically, and you also make sure that they know you're a realtor. So talk to me about that for a second.
In real estate, we all know that there's going to be some pushback. They want instant now. Where I just looked at it as farming, just like a agricultural farmer, was I got to plant seeds. And if I plant seeds consistently over time, I'll get a predictable, repeatable business. A farmer that first year, if he just said, "Oh Lord, just give me a crop and I promise I'll plant seeds next year," it's not going to happen. So you have to go out and do the work. And that's where we lose a lot of people, in farming, is they think it's going to take too long. They think it's going to be, these things. If you're not, out willing to connect with people, put yourself out there consistently with no return for a while. And by the way, the great thing is I was still doing open houses. I could still write handwritten notes. I could still talk to my sphere that wasn't in the farm. So it wasn't like I was just waiting for it to grow. I was still very purposeful. But if I was going to try to do an open house, I'd rather do it in the farm, even if I didn't have one. Try to sit someone's, just because I needed to meet people. And then over time, I just kept reinvesting into the business, like FedEx. One of the first things I bought in '04 was a moving truck, because I thought, well, I see FedEx trucks everywhere, UPS trucks everywhere. Like, it'd be silly not to have my brand, be driven around all the time. But it made a lot of fun. I didn't feel like necessarily a salesperson.
No.
It happened over time. And that's fit my character better for me, was how can I help your business grow? And in turn, people naturally want to give back if you're genuine. And I think, being authentic about it. And then over time, it just really, we've been blessed. It really took off. And then what happens is your business spreads outside of that geographic farm, because people move outside of it. They refer people to you.
That's
and
exactly
so,
right.
It's exponential at that point. But I had to get a foundation. For me, too many agents, had come and gone, and you have these spikes in their business, and I just didn't want that kind of life. I wanted to have something where I felt like, there's going to be a consistent income. And honestly, my office, I ended up buying a commercial building right in the farm where we, still operate today. The efficiencies are what is so exciting. I mean, literally, we leave the office and within a half mile, you're at your first listing appointment for the day. And so to me, that was a big value, because your time spent was huge. And again, your market knowledge. So the value I feel like I'm adding to the community is, look, I've got a vested interest in this community. I live and work here. I own property. My family lives around here. Like, we want to see values flourish. And so you weren't, taking from the community and not giving it back. And I think when people see that, they're more likely to want to reciprocate. And even people I'd never met, they see what you're doing in there.
Right.
The newsletter was always consistent, and we still do it today, and still work to add value every month of what businesses are open. Of course, you're always going to have a real estate section in there, and homes, and a little bit of that. Absolutely. I just want people to remember my name, and the goal for me was to get that newsletter from the mailbox to the kitchen counter or in the house. A lot of people, they're throwing junk stuff away before they even get in the house. Consistency was the key. It had to go out the first of every month, and we've never stopped that. Even in the down market here, 09, 10, it was tough, but I figured people needed us more then. And what I realized, thinking about that, is what happened is, over time, we built a trusted audience. They trusted our name and our brand. Once you build that trusted audience, you just keep adapting to each market, which is, again, what we're doing again. We're starting our seller and buyer workshops again. We want people, whether they show up or not, they see it. And that, to me, sometimes that's the value, is they don't always show up, but they see that you're active in doing things. And sellers, want to know that an agent is not just putting a sign in the yard and hoping it sells.
That's right. Well, let's switch gears for a second. So in our time remaining, let's talk about thriving in a shift. You have seen a couple of shifts. What are the 3, 4, 5 things that you go, okay, guys, we're going to have to do these things in order to thrive? What generally are those things?
Well, mindset obviously would be one, is, everything's going to be all right, right? It's funny, I just went to a Kenny Chesney concert, and that's one of his songs, everything's going to be all right. And I thought, it is. We've been through this before. And I think when you come out with that confidence that everything is going to be all right, like, we're going to get through this, and then adapting and getting creative and just finding out what is the market telling us? What data do we have? Because, what data is out there is usually, fear and scarcity and things like that people are marketing. Ours was, more calming, like, hey, we got this. We're going to help guide you through this process, not sell them, but we're going to be by your side. What information do you need to help make an educated decision? And then just trying to think out of the box. What is the message that people need to hear right now? We need to be the local economist right now because they're getting data from everyone else. We need to be the ones about their market, not the market. Make it a more personal experience, and then just taking massive action. We talk about it in Shift was, okay, here's what we're going into. Most people are going to pull back and sit on the fence and hope it passes. We've got to double, triple, quadruple down. We need more open houses. We need more calls. We need more events. People need to know they need a professional more in the market we're in right now than they did 6 months ago. They need someone to help them get the home ready. And, we're leaning into our experiences, right? 22 years. We've been through these markets. The average agent in our market's less than 7 years. They've never seen the challenge in the market. So this doesn't scare me, and we'll push right through this.
You said something that struck a chord with me, and that is, at one point you said, and you got to do more. You got to make more calls. You got to do more events. So when you think about more, what's your list of more?
Well, it's more calls, more videos. We do a lot of videos to people. Calls are obviously number one. Video for us would be number two. Just sending the message out. And I shot one last week and I sent it to, probably 20, 30 people, just kind of calming and like, we got this. They need to see you now more than ever. And I think sharing the data, right now the data is, every agent is posting, oh, inventory's up and all this and doom and gloom. And I'm going, hey, there were 7,200 homes sold last month in the Phoenix market.
Right. Right.
You're not the only buyer out there. Like, there are stats that are still positive. I mean, when you think 7,200 other people bought, you don't feel like the only idiot out there, right? You feel like, okay, it's okay. And by the way, now a buyer has choice. So it's spinning it in a way that you're not feeling salesy, but pointing out a different direction. If the herd's going one way, we're always looking, how do I go the other way? But I think the activities, and it's hard because, you tell your team, you tell people, okay, double down, triple down. Nobody wants to hear that in a market like this. They want the fish to keep jumping in the boat. But we're going to weed out a lot of agents, and the pros will rise again. And to me, it's an opportunity. And for my team, it's, lead them through with the confidence that we're going to get through this if you're willing to do these things and get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And so, handwritten notes to me is super powerful. They're open to 100% of the time. Just a quick note, thinking of you. It doesn't take much to stay top of mind with people, but you can't just hit them in one avenue. You can't just post on social media and expect that they see every one of them or care to listen or pay attention to it. It's a multi-prong approach. When the market shifted before, we had these winning signs for our buyers. Like, hey, we won the house. Every agent was posting sold in 24 hours, sold. Sellers, that doesn't impress them. Like, we won the house for a buyer. We wanted people to know that we're helping our buyers get the house. So it's kind of counterintuitive, but I've just found that's usually where success lies. It's not what everyone's doing. It's where we going next. And you've always pushed us to look forward too. Like, what's next? Don't get comfortable with this because we know it's not going to last. And here we are again. So you start talking, 2-1 buy down. Now everybody's talking about 2-1 buy downs or, just solutions. My job is to provide a menu of options for people and let them pick what's best for them. There's so many real estate programs out there now, so many tools we can put in our toolbox. We just have to get educated on all of them so we know which ones fit the client, because all those people are, if not, they're marketing direct and they're like, why aren't you telling me about this? So to me, it's just getting really educated on what tools are in your local market, what solutions can you provide. We kind of have this little grid. We do this seller scorecard, and it's like asking them these questions and then going, okay, based on what you've told me, here's the 3 programs that probably fit your needs. Now let's dive into those further and then help guide you through what's in your best interest. It becomes fun that way too, quite honestly, because their reaction is just different than what they're used to, which is being sold on how good you are and me. And you realize nobody really cares about that. They care about what you can do for them. So we got to bring solutions.
In the end, it's a numbers game, right? I mean, when you say more, that means more number. It means if you used to have to contact 10 people in order to get a piece of business, you might have to contact 17 people. And if it takes you an extra hour to actually connect with 7 more people a day, you're going to have to do an extra hour work a day. Isn't that
Right.
isn't that the simple truth about a shift?
Absolutely. And if you have some value you can bring to them, it makes the conversation not so tough to have. The whole Ford thing and ask these questions, but it's, hey, I just wanted to call you some great news. I know you were thinking about buying before. Now we've got some options. We can get some seller concessions. You're going to have choice. We don't have to decide in a second. Like every negative has a positive and vice versa. So you've got to bring it to light, because all they're hearing is the doom and gloom on media right now. And media isn't like it used to be, because they're getting it from everywhere and many times a day.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. I look up in my neighborhood. If you wanted to live in my neighborhood 6 months ago, there were no homes for sale. You could not live in my neighborhood. Today, there are 7 listings. And now the buyer looks up and says, "But aren't I buying at the peak of the market?" Now, what do you say to that? That fear of, hold it, aren't I buying at the peak of the market?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter when you buy, it's when you sell. And are you planning on being in the home for more than 2 years or 3 years? If not, your interest rate's 100% if you're going to go rent somewhere. So let's look at the value of what that is. And right now the whole thing is, I know there's this cliche out there, but it's marry the home and date the rate type thing, because the rate is going to fluctuate. It's already down a little bit this morning, I think, from our mortgage guy.
That's right.
You can always refi out of that, and there's options. But the great news is we're in an essential business where people need a roof over their head, whether they're owning or renting. And when the rents have gone up like they are, does it make sense to be able to paint your kid's room what you want, and to landscape, and to put garage to live your life not on hold waiting? And is it affordable? Is it within a budget that you can afford? Well, then if you're going to be in there 10 years, you're not going to regret the decision today. Everything I held through the downturn of the market, doubled again. And so but it's got to be the right situation. You've got to really guide and consult with them and ask questions so they feel comfortable that, it does make sense to buy. And I think using that number earlier, saying there's 7,200 homes sold last month in the Phoenix market, that's a surprising number. The media has never once said that number. They talk about inventory has risen, it's tripled and this. Right. And we're still under, what we should be to be a balanced market. But nobody knows that data, because the other stuff sells so much better than that. And, we have people advertising, get out, sell now, because they're trying to generate seller leads. It's like, well, that's not really what a professional would be doing right now, because we don't want more inventory if people don't need to sell, but they panic and they follow the herd. So you see this inventory go up. The reality of it is it's a great time to buy. Home prices now, you can negotiate, you can get repairs, you can get seller concessions. You have choice. Wouldn't that be more fun? Because trust me, these last 2 years were not a lot of fun for buyers and for buyers agents, because you felt like really weren't.
No, it's horrible. Yeah,
adding a lot of value.
Yeah, people have more choice. And what you said is exactly right. It doesn't matter when you buy, it matters when you sell. So the reality is, if you're going to hold a home for at least 7 or 8 years, don't worry about it, because historically, from the top to the bottom, back to the top, doesn't last more than it's like 7 years, right? That whole graphic on the 4% trend line, in my mind, is everything. That's all you need to show someone, and they go, well, should I buy or sell? Say, look, here's the deal. It doesn't matter when you buy, it matters when you sell. And it's not the fault of the real estate. So just remember that if you buy in any market other than the lucky market, you need to lose that memory fast. That was a moment in time. COVID happened, certain things happened, this occurred. This isn't coming again. This has never happened before. It will never happen again. Quit remembering it. Now here's the reality is, If you bought your home 4 or 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, you made money. And even if that price that you thought you could have gotten 3 months ago or 5 months ago has dropped by 20%, it doesn't really matter. You still made.
So Gary, we created a graphic around that because we know people are visual, and when you're at an appointment with somebody, the emotions are high, and when emotions are high, good decisions aren't always made. So we know people are visual, so we made this graphic. It's in our newsletter. We send out to our clients, and it shows like 2017 to 2022 or to current. And if you bought a house at 320, it should be worth around 389 right now with an average of about 4% appreciation. Instead, it's worth like 611,000. So the reality of it is when you show this graph, we show them, hey, you gained all the appreciation that the market historically gives, but look at this bonus appreciation. You're up over $200,000. Even if you had to come down 25, you are so far ahead. But I'm saying it to you, but in a kitchen table, you just kind of let them see it, and if you just leave it there, you just leave it there, because it's, my brother did an analogy. He said, if you went to Vegas and you had $100, and by the end of the day, you were, and let's say you got up to $1,200 and you left with 1,000. Do you feel like you lost in the moment? Yes. The next morning you wake up and you're like, hey, this is pretty good. I got quite a bit more money in my pocket. I got another $900. But in the moment, it doesn't feel like it. So if you can get the emotions back down, and when you leave, if there's a husband, wife, whatever, the emotions tend to settle, and then the reality starts to set in. And so when you look at this graph and you go, wait a minute, we haven't really lost anything. We just had this bonus appreciation, but we didn't have any reason to sell. We didn't have anywhere to go, but now we need to sell. And that's why I think prices can adjust some in our market. They already are, because sellers are sitting on so much extra appreciation than they would have ever dreamed, that to give up 25,000, 50,000 really isn't.
And by the way, that's going to drive a lot of sellers. This whole idea that at a 4% trend line, your home should be worth, 380,000. But right now, because of what happened, the market says that at a peak it was 625. But here's the reality: is if you end up having to knock off 20% of that, you're still at 500,000. They
just need to see it, right? People are
you made so much money. Yeah.
Yes.
If you need to go get money, you've got money, by the way. And I believe that's what will cause this to, one last thing, I'll let you go. Be sure and go back and look at the graphs that I send you guys on the 4% trend line. One of the things you ought to pay attention to is how long it takes from peak to bottom to back. And be sure and remind people that the buyer on the buy side, and the buyer says, well, what if I buy today and they drop further? And you go, look, you have no way of knowing how far it's going to drop or whatever. What you should pay attention to is if your holding horizon is 7 to 10 years, this won't be a problem for you.
At all.
Yeah,
nope, I agree.
Unless the sky has fallen and everything has gone to hell in a handbasket, this won't be a problem.
Focus on what you can control. And if everybody just did that, said please and thank you, held the door.
That's right.
Just fundamental stuff it never changes. And to me, it's just the easy part. Just keep doing the little things that make the big things possible.
It's all cumulative.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Couldn't agree more. It just stacks over time.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care. Hey, if you want to learn more, just check out these other videos.
Mega Camp 2022, Austin. Who went? Can I get a whoop whoop? Was that amazing or what?
It was fun.
Yes, it was fun, but we were there for serious stuff.
No, yeah.
Yes. So who wants to chat about it first? Who wants to talk about their takeaways and their top 3 things that they're actually implementing in their business? Because let's be honest, there was so much knowledge. So much. And sometimes we can get overwhelmed. So who wants to take the lead on this? Danny, go. I know you've got a list, baby. Go.
Okay, well, I will say that it was amazing. That was my first time in person, and it was off the hook. It was amazing. It was the relationships that were built with our own family and without our outside to make it even a bigger family was just unreal. I have probably about 10 pages worth of notes that I am saying, thank God I have a MAPS coach, because I met with my MAPS coach on Friday right away. And I was like, okay, this is a hot mess. This is what you are here to help me with. Now tell me what to do. And so he did. And I don't have my top 3 yet because of the fact that I have so much on my list that I've started a new list. Now from that list, I'm taking and starting a list from there and just working it down to where I get my top 3. The top 3 is mostly what is going to be the most impactful, but going small to go big. That was huge. And one of the other things I want to say is that when we were sitting there and listening to these agents, and it was a panel after panel, and just in awe of some of them that they were doing, a lot of the things I have to keep in mind when I'm creating my list is do what is real to me. Just because someone else is doing it does not mean that it's going to fit for me. So keep it to who I am. And one of the things that he really drove home with me is, and I shared this with Krista the next day because we had some conversations on the side about this, but consistency and narrow focus is what sets the people on stage apart from those of us watching. They don't do anything miraculous or out of the ordinary. You win the morning, you win the day.
I love that.
And it was just, yeah, it was amazing. Like what I do before from in the morning till 12, my day is done after that. And today was proven, tried and tested again. Got, you know, oh, and I was sharing with Michele, talk about relationships. While I was there, I was negotiating 2 contracts. Ended up one of the agents was a Keller Williams agent, and to say we are pending because of the relationship that we built while we were at Mega Camp. So woohoo!
So that is awesome. Let's
At the
think
piano
about
bar,
that.
let's be real, at the piano bar where she met her, I'm just saying.
Well, that pays for mega camp. That pays for your hotel expense. That pays for family reunion. I don't know. I think it's worth it, don't you?
Oh, that was if you don't see that as an investment, then you're not seeing the big picture. And it was by far just, you know, like I said, the experience is unreal. I'm not going to come back and implement all 10 pages of my notes, but I am going to pick those top things that is going to be going small and making the biggest impact in different areas. And I'm pumped. I'm jazzed. We were on the plane, knocked out, but we were still like, blah, 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 blah.
I love that. I love the energy. That's so amazing.
And thank you to my best roommate that I could have ever asked for. It was just amazing. So Patty, you could be my room buddy anytime.
Okay, so you are second choice. I am first choice
Yep.
with Patty, just so you know. Can't just move on in. I just happen to have my husband at that one.
Done and done.
That's awesome.
But those are my big takeaways. And just remember that, you know, we could be up on that panel within 5 years ourselves if we really wanted to. And it comes down to just getting back to the basics.
I was having a hard time with that.
And just having that narrow focus. And when you have that narrow focus, we're not multitaskers, guys. A lot of us are squirrels. And just having that narrow focus is what's going to make the biggest impact. And I'm pumped. I'm here. I'm in the office. I'm doing it. So anybody who wants to come in here and script role play with me and do night call nights with me, I'm here, you guys. Let's make it happen. Let's finish the year strong. I got a big goal. So
I love the energy. Absolutely love the energy. Number one thing that you're going to implement. Number one, besides relationships.
win the day, win the morning.
I love it.
I already started this morning, 5 a.m. I started my day working and I was in the office before 9. So that was the number one biggest thing. What am I doing right now? Right.
I love that. Is Laura on here? Laura. Yes, she is. I know she heard that. So we need to hold her accountable. And Chrissy, you're on here. Yep, I'm throwing you guys under the bus right now. Did you feel that? Because I know you guys want to be in the office before 9. I know it. All right, who's next? Take away. Go. Thank you, Danny. Patty, go. Or Kyle, go.
I heard Kyle talking.
All right, go.
I for the life of me, I can't remember if it was Gary or one of the other panelists that said it, but something that really stuck out to me was the quote, "Be the Google of all things real estate," and other than real estate too. Like, be the person that someone goes to you for a recommendation for a plumber or a heating and air person. Like that
Definitely.
really does help.
Definitely.
I mean,
Well,
obviously that's not the big, huge thing.
but it is. Rachel Adams, what does she talk about? Where the harvest festivals are, where the pumpkin festivals are, where's the Christmas lights. You go to her page, you know exactly where it's going to be. It's going to be on her page.
Yeah.
Right? So even like where I live, there's not a KW agent focus where I live. I go to somebody else's, I'll be honest with you, their website, because I know she has everything on there about Redbridge. So it'd be nice if somebody would take over. That would be really, really cool. Anyways, what else, Kyle? Kyle, what else?
Really getting back to the basics, cutting out expenses that aren't necessary, and cutting out the personal ones so that you hopefully don't have to cut any or very little from your business expenses.
Lead with revenue.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. Who wants to go next?
Steve Reed is the king of that.
I like that. Maybe he needs to teach a class. I don't know. Let's think about that. I can't even see his face right now, but yeah. Awesome. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So I have 14 pages of notes, which I condensed to one this morning. And the words that stood out the most. This is the first time, really, I think in all the years I've gone to Mega Camp that I've heard him say what Kyle just said. So I want to say it again. Lower your personal expenses first. Because as this business shifts, right, if you're having to take money from anywhere, it shouldn't be from business first to still live the lifestyle you're accustomed to. They both have to shift at the same time. And this way you don't feel the hit as much in your personal affairs. If you have your personal affairs in order, then your business could still fund that and your business, right? So that's the first time I believe I've ever heard him say it that way. And that came straight from Gary Keller, and he said it a couple of times. Then we're moving into a skills market. For the longest time, KW has been the mantra of service first, right? Service first. Now they're flipping that into skills first, service second.
That's huge, 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 huge. Big time.
People won't really, as always, the saying, if people don't know how much you care, or know until they know how much you care. While caring about somebody is being skilled, giving them the information they actually need to help them conduct their real estate transaction. That doesn't mean you have to like me and be airy-fairy, right? That's another word he likes to use. And do the fluff. Like, we can be friends, and yet if you don't believe I'm skilled in this market and educate you and guide you on how to get it done, and not be a price reduction, not be a person who got left homeless because you didn't know how to write the contract properly, not be someone who sits on the market for 6 months. Like, you have to show them the skill you are providing in the consultation to win them over. And then, yes, also do the service. The service is just as important. So the third thing skills market is the service is the value you provide between transactions. So I heard this louder than I've ever heard it before, because I've heard it lots of times. And yet this year, from the different panelists, I heard it louder, because yes, we service our database. We do an amazing 5-star experience while they're in contract with us, right? Contract to close, consultation to close. And yet truly, if I'm better or create a system, because I'm not going to do it, to be honest. You know, I had a conversation with my gals this morning about how they're going to implement this. They are my who, I'm the idea. Is the service is between the transactions. So the moment we hand off keys and say, it was, you know, wonderful helping you out. Thank you for our 5-star review. Now, how are we going to stay in touch with them and service them as an individual or a group within our database? Like knowing who your people are is how you service them. And from that came, let me just look at it real quick here. It's people love more like unexpected things, right? So it's easy to say happy 1-year anniversary, congratulations on the baby. It's easy to see those milestones. But when they said that, like do something that's unexpected, like who doesn't love flowers just because? Or a little like fun surprise that's just because, not because there's any reason behind it. It's a just because, right? Like I thought of you today and I'm going to write you this little handwritten note. Or Danny, I know you love this certain type of chocolate. It's just going to show up in your office just because I thought of you today. She's going to think it's just because I thought of her, but truly it's going to be a system behind it that they get touched on in a way that they weren't expecting. So yeah, so me and Sarah are really, really fired up. If it's one thing I ever get back from going to these events, guys, is there's 2 people in my life that say I become a spark plug when I come back because I'm so full of energy and ideas and I know I can't implement them all. So there's always a who. If it's not me, then who in my world is going to take on this project because it's that important and it will make a difference in our business. That's it.
Love it. Thank you so much. I love your energy. Love it. And you're a heck of a dance partner. Just saying. Anyways, okay, who's next? Krista and Des, you got your hand up.
I kind of want to piggyback on what Patty was saying. What I heard was, because, you know, I've been trying to work and tailor like social media, which I'm not really big on, but I'm trying to get better at it. And so he said, people don't care about your content. They care about what your content means to them. Right. So we can post, you know, market updates, right? It may be only some of maybe the analytical people are only going to appreciate that content. Right. So I came back thinking, how am I going to change that to capture more people's attention so that they do care about what I'm posting? How many of us like scroll through and look at things and say, well, I don't really care about that. Right. You're just kind of going until something does capture your attention. So, you know, and I get quite a few leads from social media as well, but I'm just trying to figure out how to make that even more and implement something where I could get even more leads and more business from the social media platform. So that was really, really important to me to hear that.
That was amazing. Thank you so much, Des. If you guys remember back, the YouTube gentleman that's all over YouTube, how old is he again?
Oh, no, it's IG.
Yeah. Oh, what did I say? YouTube? Instagram.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Instagram.
I just had to age myself.
21 years old.
He was 21.
1 years.
At 18, he closed 50 deals his first year in real estate from IG.
Hello, right? So I hope everybody saw my post with his name, because right now I can't think of his name. But if you go into
Elio Alanis.
Okay. Can somebody post his, like that little picture I showed you guys? It's probably on our little text group. If somebody could do that, that would be great. Put it in the chat. Everybody should be like all over him.
And the other thing too is for people like me that may not like the social media, if you have agents that are on your team, people who are very tech savvy, this is something to share with them and have them follow. You know, I did right away. I followed them, but share it with them. That way they can try to implement this into their business systems as well.
That's so smart. Thank you so much. Jeannie, there's a gal over in the Modesto office who's going to be providing a lot of these services. So be on the outlook for that, please. Krista, what else you got? Sister. Sister. She's our real queen. Yeah.
No. So my takeaways, manage expenses, and then just getting back to basics. Perfection is overrated. I can't remember which agent it was. She was on the panel, but actually I think it might have been Patty's coach when she said be done by 12, and then they just kept on stressing time blocking. get up early, eat, exercise, meditate. And that's what I did my first year. And I got away with it because of COVID. And so I just need to get back to basics and get back to what made me successful. Win the day, win the morning, win the day.
I love
So
it.
that was
Time
good.
block, time block, time block.
Yeah.
I love it. That's great. Thank you so much. Ashley, are you still on here? I know you had to go, so I'm so sorry I didn't call you first. Where is she? Ashley, go ahead.
Here, I'll start my video. I'm in the car. A lot of what's already been said, I would say the biggest ones for me are the budget and expenses, because I'm awful at doing that. And also just making my contacts, to go back to making sure that I do, just like I did in Bold, making sure that I do my 20 a day, because I've slacked off.
Awesome. Bold, yes. Bold's coming up, guys, so watch your calendars. So thank you. Ashley, anything else? Social media for you, I know that.
Yeah, I need to do that also. The takeaways. I felt overloaded.
Definitely.
The info there was.
Yeah, sometimes you need to like walk out and walk back in. I know I needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to clear there's so much coming at you. When they take a break, you definitely need to take a break. That's your cue to take a break. Definitely.
Yeah.
Anything else, Ashley?
That's it.
Do you recommend going? This was your first year. Do you recommend going?
Very much so. I will say, oh yeah, thank you. So in posting and talking about Mega Camp, I have 2 other agents that reached out to me asking me about it. So I feel like it could be a way to build my downline.
Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yes, that was like that little takeaway. I didn't want to just say it, but yes. Awesome. And get them into the classes, right? You could have put them on this. Anything that we do, you guys, it's open to anybody. Anybody. Share everything that has to do with any of our classes, any of our meetings. Because we come from abundance, you guys. We don't come from scarcity. There's a piece of that pie for them if they want it, but we got most of it.
So I'm going to post in the chat right now. This is the first time that I remember Keller Williams doing this for Mega Camp. The panel goes really fast, but they did an hour in-depth interview with each panelist that they're going to slowly sprinkle in to the KW's YouTube channel. So I'm going to post it in chat so you guys could have access to that and say, like and subscribe, right? Like and subscribe to your YouTube channel, then you'll get the feeds.
Definitely. Thank you. And then can somebody put the Google Drive in there as well? That would be great. Because we got a Google Drive, you guys, with all the notes from all the panelists. It's pretty amazing. That was the first time they ever did that. Patty, how many times have you been to Mega Camp?
No idea. Probably more than half a dozen.
Awesome. And you keep going. You keep seeing value. That's beautiful. Okay, Barb, your turn. You're up. You're muted.
I don't know what I missed a little because I was in that other meeting, but I think another thing that resonated with me is being the economist of your local market.
Yes.
So we need to know our numbers, and we need to know what's happening in our market so that we can convey that to our clients. So I think that's really important. Along with all the things everyone said, of course, going back to basics. And I really did take heart also on where they said, cut your personal expenses first.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Barb. Bill, our agent from the commercial side, Agent Bill.
I knew when I put on a video, you'd call on me. Takeaways. Well, I had a great time. I guess first time there. The event after the event was epic, and we had so much fun at all things that we did. So thank you everybody who made that really special and fun and welcoming and all that good stuff. The event itself, I guess I took more from like the wealth side and then the time management side. So investing in our own personal investment properties and such. Some of the guys talked about their plans about how they invested in their first one and second one, and now they've replaced their monthly income or their expenses with their investment income that they have amassed. Well, we know real estate. Like, why would we not own real estate? Was kind of the thing. The other the other takeaway was, man, there were people up there that literally do no administrative tasks, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is done by a virtual assistant. I mean, there was a guy that was up there that
Isn't that
said
the
that
simple truth?
100% of the time that he is working, he has a virtual assistant doing it right there with him. Like, to the point that if somebody came, like if I was doing it, Michele came in my office, like that virtual assistant would be there taking notes on that conversation. And that was crazy. So I did, coming out of that, I did a personal assessment of my time versus like where I think I'll end up on GCI, and then all of the tasks that I do on a daily, or no, a monthly basis or yearly basis, and my income per hour, like my net worth per hour, is like $3,000. So if I think about the amount of time that I spend making a purchase contract or managing a transaction or putting my farm into my CRM and then working that farm, like trying to get numbers and everything else in there, like I'm wasting my time. Like I need to have somebody else doing it.
Most definitely. We teach that all the time, or coach that. Most definitely.
So those are really the big takeaways that I got from the event. I mean, these guys are all ages. I mean, I don't care what age you are. Like there was an 18-year-old up there killing it. You know, there was a 7-year-old up there killing it. Like it doesn't matter. Like and they're in all stages of their real estate career. So it was a good event. Yeah, I'm glad I went.
Good. Thank you so much. When are you going to hire your next assistant?
I was just talking with my coach about it this morning. So I've got to look at putting find out what they offer and figure out what areas I'm going to utilize. Whether
That's
it's
wonderful.
Database management or transaction coordinator or all three. I mean,
yeah, everything you don't want to be doing, everything that's not, what do they say? Everything that is not money making activities, you don't do. Your assistant.
Yeah, I have to do my not to do list. Things that I shouldn't do. Like they're not worth it. If somebody costs me $10 an hour to do some of these tasks, and my worth is $3,000 an hour, like what am I doing?
Right. Great job. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you being there. That was beautiful.
Thanks for having me.
Janet, how many times have you been there, my friend?
That was my third time in person for Mega Camp.
Yeah. So what is your biggest takeaway?
I will reiterate what the ladies have said about the mornings. And Michele, you know how I am with mornings.
Yes.
But it really is the truth. To my Wednesdays, when I do get up early for my BNI and I'm all dressed to the nines and ready to go, it is a more productive day. And I'm like, why don't I do that? Why don't I do that? So that was something I focused on. And then just don't be the real estate specialist, be the home specialist, meaning be the resources. And somebody said, don't just do the deal and be done with it and say, here, Merry Christmas or whatever, once a year. Stay connected, offer resources. It makes my heart pitter patter when a past client texts me and says, hey, do you know an electrician or a plumber or whatever? Yes, I do. Here it is. They're thinking of me, So, and then, something that nobody really ever talks about, that's to me a huge part of Mega Camp and Family Reunion, is the exhibit floor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the resources, the people, that's where I run into people. And, I look at their little, hey, where are you from? I met someone from Brentwood. She's already connected with me today, so walking out there, getting your marketing material, learning more. That's how I found out more information on that KW prep, the K-score. That exhibit floor is a great resource.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, so wait a minute. You're not done. How many leads have you gotten from attending Family Reunion or Mega Camp?
Two.
Or transactions?
Transactions, 2 solid ones.
That's awesome. So, okay, on an average of commission, of $11,000, I think one of them would have paid for those 3 Mega Camps that you just went to.
True story.
Yeah, right. So I hope you guys have all signed up for a family reunion. The link went out the following day. I already know the Hilton's already booked. So I hope you're being smart and booking things and getting it out there, because family reunion is completely different. Who wants to explain family reunion? Patrick, you're quiet. How about you?
Well, family reunion's a totally different experience from Mega Camp. There's a lot of breakout opportunities that if you want to focus on this particular practice in real estate, you can focus on just that, as opposed to having the panels that we experience in Mega Camp. So it's a great experience. Anaheim's a nice place. Of course, Disneyland is there as well. Yeah, nice. And it's nice that we can just drive there, right? So
Yes. Yes. You're right. The breakouts are like every hour and a half. And during the breakouts, you have like maybe like 9 different options to go to. The cool thing is that they're recorded. So you'll be able to see them when you go home. They're going to be recorded for a certain amount of time frame for you to review, which is good too. Because it's very hard to find the right one to go to because you're going all over the place. However, I always, if it's not resonating with me, I'm out. I go to the one across the way. I really manage my time, and I don't just wait.
There's so much. It's overwhelming. It's great.
Wonderful. Anybody else want to chime in? Anything? Any last words? Did I hit everybody? Rolf.
I got one.
Virtual.
I was virtual, but I gotta be able to view it. One of the things that was kind of in your face right out the front, and basically Gary Keller had it right on his shirt. I saw Des wearing it today. I think Kristen might have been wearing it. I ended up ordering one, but it was the picture of the buffalo. And the message behind that was buffalo is one of the few animals, if not the only one, that when a storm is coming, actually heads straight into the storm because it can get through it quicker. So again, I think that's more of a mindset thing than anything heading into this market, that we need to take it head on instead of shying away. I think that was what they opened with, and that honestly was one of the biggest points that resonated with me for this mega camp.
Awesome, thank you, and congratulations on your run this past weekend or Friday. I believe it was Friday. That's awesome. You rallied.
We took first.
You took third?
First.
First place? Are you kidding me? That's amazing. Yeah, I've got a story about my half marathon. When I was running over the line, I saw another girl coming and everybody was cheering. Yeah, she was for the full. I was for the half. She was first place for the full. Anyways. All right, you guys. So Mega Camp is where it was. And so Family Reunion is where it's at. So I encourage you guys to get your hotel rooms fast, because a lot of people at the last minute are texting me and emailing me, and there's nothing I can do. And this one will be crazy because it's in California and it's near Disneyland. Get your season passes now if you're going to go with your family. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for masterminding with us. See you soon.
Michele, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.